was sent to President to pass it into a law. For the long-awaited Anti-Homosexuality Bill 2023, the public wants the President to assent to it. During the NRM caucus last week, President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni rejected to sign the bill into a law, citing some gaps among others on disoriented persons.
The major point of departure is only on the aspect of rehabilitation. So the bill in principle has passed.
The bill, which addresses the vice of homosexuality, was among the few bills passed by Parliament within 2 weeks.
In passing this bill, Parliament really depended on the emotions and the public outcry about this vice, if you call it that, and they legislated emotionally. They needed to do something to catch up with the public outroar. And in the haste, because really this was rushed, there may be some clauses which could have gone in the emotional outburst.
As the bill is bounced back to the Parliament for review, there are some provisions in the bill which are likely to be challenged in court.
If you talk about the issue of the fines given to the media for any form of promotion of homosexuality, it may interfere with the already existing constitutional provisions on the protection of the freedom of the press and the media, because the limitations on the freedom of the press have already been outlined by a court not less than the Supreme Court, saying that there must be those limitations which are in a free, fair, just and democratic society.
Under provision 14(1)(a), a fine of 150 currency points or imprisonment for 5 years to any person found promoting homosexuality. But legal minds have different views.
This offense created in the Anti-Homosexuality Bill towards the media meets the test of a limitation in a free and democratic society, because the foundations of the media at work without any fear of either being gagged or possibly committing the crime, as the case may be. And I think that in that case, this may be a challenge, it may be a gag, and I think by passing these provisions, they really opened up the bill for a challenge in the Constitutional Court if it's assented to by the President, and this might even be successful.
So the bill simply tells the media to promote and publish any good information except homosexual information. So the bill only stops the media from publishing homosexual information, which is an offense. So it was right for Parliament to bring an independent bill and make an independent law to address gay behaviors in the country.
Legal minds also say some are not fit to punish those involved in the vice.
Maybe on the sentence for aggravated homosexuality, for me I see 10 years is not good enough. The sentence would be life imprisonment or death.
Vice is as widespread as it is. Why haven't we been having people prosecuted? I don't think it's not been necessarily a challenge of not having an existing law. It's largely been because enforcing such crimes is always hard. The only new aspect maybe would be the issue of promotion that they are brought in, that there are some people who promote or who interest others or recruit others into committing this vice. That's been the only aspect which hasn't been covered under our laws.
But considering other factors, the bill is good. It will be a good law, and I hope the President assents it as early as possible.
Although there are some laws to address the vice, failure to implement them could create a gap.
Homosexual as an offense was covered under defilement, and people could not understand that homosexual is an offense in the country. In the penal code, from section 129, it was about aggravated defilement, where a man defiles a boy or a child who is under 18 years, or a woman having a sexual intercourse with a girl.
Vice is as widespread as it is. Why haven't we been having people prosecuted? I don't think it's not been necessarily a challenge of not having an existing law. It's largely been because enforcing such crimes is always hard. The only new aspect maybe would be the issue of promotion that they are brought in, that there are some people who promote. That's why we have offenses like prostitution, but not so many people are convicted or even are prosecuted.
Deborah Namamonde, Nantongo Rebecca, UBC News.
President Museveni this week tasked the Directorate of Public Prosecution to further their investigations to bring to book assassinators in the murder of former Principal State Attorney Joan Kagezi, whose interim reports indicates that she was murdered by suspected extension of ADF rebel agents in Kampala at the time. However, the absence of an enabling law on the Witness Protection Act jeopardizes prosecution works in handling criminal cases.
It's now 8 years since the demise of the late Chief State Attorney Joan Kagezi, who was assassinated by unknown gunmen in Nigeria. Chirata Unika says she left to work for home. The Director of Public Prosecution's office, over the last 6 years, has been celebrating her life and service rendered to the DPP's office in the area of criminal justice system. President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni was the chief guest at the 6th annual Joan Kagezi Memorial Lecture held at Speak Resort Hotel, Munyonyo. Speaking at the congregation, President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni cited the need to hunt down the primary assassinators of Joan Kagezi, despite the interim reports, pointing to a Ugandan-based rebel group in the Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo, the ADF, to have been the prime suspects in the cold-blooded assassination.
So, in the case of Kagezi, first, we have punished ADF. Because these fellows who killed her were from ADF. And we are not yet finished. We are really sending them where they sent Kagezi, in Congo. So therefore, I will have to check again with the new regime of Magambo, what is happening with those killers, the direct killers. The bigger group, I am handling them in Congo. But there are particular ones who must be held accountable.
Witness protection is a major pillar in the dispensation of justice, and the absence of it hinders prosecution's work in handling criminal cases.
But also a reflection and a need for a reminder of the need for safety of all prosecutors, but also of all users of court, as I'd already mentioned, including, Your Excellency, people like witnesses, judicial officers, police, prison warders, defense lawyers, whistleblowers. A witness protection law in this regard is needed and is long overdue. Your Excellency, witnesses are pivotal in the dispensation of justice. Witnesses are the ones that support the police in investigations.
Lady Justice Jane Francis Sabodo appealed to the President to address challenges faced by the DPP's office, pointing out the enhancement of their security, budget and manpower.
And I also want to report to you, Your Excellency, that after our meeting last year, you guided that murder is an offense that we should be able to really get and make some kind of focus on it. We decided that we created a division that was only to deal with murder cases. And Your Excellency, that division is being headed, I should be having about 10 people in this division, but I have only one person.
Now, the laws of protecting the witnesses, I didn't know that this was a problem. So if it is a problem, the Attorney General, you should work on it, the laws to protect the witnesses. And the 900 million shillings for protecting the prosecutors, that is too low. We shall have to do something to enhance it.
To handle criminals and criminal cases, especially in organized crimes, this requires a robust judiciary, investigations, and to empower the DPP's office.
An effective criminal justice system would thrive on expeditious handling of cases that come. You've spoken many times Actually, you have talked incessantly over prioritizing certain cases like murder, treason. I hope organized crime is one of them. Drug trafficking, human trafficking, money laundering. But it's also our prayer that the capacity of the police investigating arm is strengthened so that when these matters come up, there is expedited investigation, expedited decision to prosecute, and expedited trial. That's what the Constitution provides for.
The function was attended by the Attorney General Chiriowa Chiwanuka, who applauded the DPP's office for its work. The late Joan Kage's memorial lecture was held under the theme, Organized Crime and the Need for Witness Protection. Deborah Namamonde, Nantongo Rebecca, UBC News.
The First Lady, Janet Museveni, this week urged leaders to stand up for the family because it is basic for the stability of any society. She was officiating 50 years marriage anniversary of Pastor Nicholas Wafula and Elizabeth at Kolola Independence Grounds, Kampala.
It is my joy and my privilege and my pleasure to declare you golden husband and wife in the name of God the Father and God the Son and God the Holy Spirit. And
the founding pastor, Deliverance Church, Wafula Nicholas, and his wife, Elizabeth Wafula, have celebrated 50 years in marriage during a ceremony graced by the First Lady, Janet Museveni.
Thank you for accepting me. Thank you for enduring me. Thank you for loving me unconditionally.
The Regional Director, Peace and South Africa Development Associates International, Pastor Wafula Nicholas, attributes their success to love, forgiveness, putting Jesus at the center of their marriage and coping with adjustments.
The other thing that we have had to do, Mama, is to adjust. Is a watchword I normally tell those who are going to get married. The word adjustment will help your marriage. If you remain stiff and you don't want to adjust, you run in trouble.
The First Lady, Janet Museveni, applauded Pastor Wafula for imparting leadership skills among a number of Ugandans, citing the leadership curriculum course at Uganda Christian University, where she was a beneficiary.
Pastor Wafula introduced us to the leadership curriculum development by Development Associates International and guided us through the engaging material until we finally graduated in 2013. I must admit that this was a life-changing course for me, and it helped me meet some of the best people I now know as my good friends.
The First Lady urged couples to start with what they have and encouraged them to be generous.
Do not give up on each other. Do not despair in the first few years at the start of your journey. A home is built on love, but also on forgiveness and faithfulness. Hearts get broken, but they mend.
Bishop John Bosco Masinde from Deliverance Church of Kenya advised married couples to always have honest face-to-face conversations and desist from texts, social media communication, and outsourcing romance.
a contract is actually a document of mistrust. The reason someone asks you to sign on the dotted line is because they don't trust you. They don't trust you shall keep your word. It's 100% from each one of you. It's not a 50-50 partnership. Everybody in this marriage must be giving 100%.
The couple was blessed, commissioned and issued with marriage certificate of 50 years. I'm Nafka Farida and Abdunasir Wama in Kampala.
More state updates. President Yoweri Museveni this week supported Visionaries, a women's circle, with 60 million Uganda shillings during the 5th annual general meeting held at Katikati in Kampala. The money was delivered by the Vice President, Major Jessica Alupo, to Visionary Women Entrepreneurs and Advisory Center Circle Limited. The money is meant to assist in the growth and implementation of their vision as they seek to increase membership and offer low-cost loans to members.
The worldwide President Mothers Union Shilani Harper is in Uganda. She was welcomed by the President Mothers Union Namirembe Diocese, Bingi Rosemary. Shilani was taken through some of the projects by Mothers Union of Namirembe Diocese. Shilani used this platform and gave a piece of advice to parents in Uganda to nurture their children in a godly way, which will help to address the challenge of teenage pregnancy.
And our aim really is in the upbringing of our children in the way that they can make wise choices and values as they move along in their life. As we know, we want every girl and every woman to achieve their highest potential. And for me, it's very difficult when you have a child, having a child, when she's not ready to parent her own child.
Shilani Harper also advised Christians not to be taken by earthly things that has led some humans to engage in acts of homosexuality.
Their work lives, their family lives, their church lives. But the stories that I will take from here of success, of transformation, will be a source of inspiration for those other families and Mothers Union members in other provinces around the world. But I'd like to just encourage all of you to remain faithful to the God you serve, right? And that is our Bible for life. Everything in this life is in there for us to know.
President Mothers Union Namirembe Diocese, Bingi Rosemary, highlighted reasons why they had to host the worldwide Mothers Union president in Uganda. She, however, cited challenges faced by Mothers Union.
She has told us herself that she has visited Uganda just because of the people. She has been meeting in London. They have been behaving very well, respecting themselves. So when they went outside there, they sold our name. They were behaving very well. So that's why they wanted to come and see those people who behave like that. Where do they stay? What do they do? That is the reason why they have come here. Abachala ba Mothers Union tulina ebirowoozo bingi, tulina ebirooto bingi ate nga binene. Naye ekizibu kye tulina ssente. Era ze tukyanoonya.
Shilani Harper will visit different archdiaconaries in Namirembe Diocese. Deborah Namamonde, UBC News.
In more news this afternoon, police this week opened a special file against the 11 women members of parliament for assaulting 5 police officers. This was during an operation to prevent unlawful procession by these legislators to the Ministry of Internal Affairs office. 3 officers out of the 5 that were battered by the MPs were admitted at Iran-Uganda Hospital in Naguru.
The confrontation between police and the 11 women members of parliament left 5 police officers nursing wounds. This was during a police operation intended to prevent legislators from unlawful procession to the Ministry of Internal Affairs office.
Not mindful of the breach of peace that it could have led to. They didn't have ushers. They were a group of 11. And there was nobody to regulate their movement because the police was not part of it. So we want to call upon our members of parliament. Yes, you may be parliamentarians, but you're also not above the law.
3 police officers are still admitted out of the 5 who were assaulted by women members of parliament. Police have established a file of assault against these legislators.
Some of the pictures didn't come out clearly, but there was a lot of confrontation. We saw female honorable members of parliament. Some had removed their shoes and were hitting the officers repeatedly. Others were throwing punches. But you're throwing punches at a police officer who is promoting rule of law. An attack on a police officer is an attack on constitutionalism in this country, is an attack on rule of law in this country.
Legislators are accused of failure to exhaust alternative avenues in their capacity to engage internal affairs minister.
Of holding an unlawful procession, an illegal assembly, and obstructing officers on lawful duty, assaulting a police officer on lawful duty, depending on the injuries that may arise. All those are cases that we shall be looking at. Our officers tried as much as possible to avoid any confrontation. They used very friendly and holistic language, telling the honorable members of parliament that the procession they were trying to hold was an unlawful procession. And in addition to that, the honorable minister of internal affairs is somebody whom the office of the speaker, the deputy speaker of parliament, the chairpersons of the different committees are always inviting at parliament. And these are options that were not exhausted, and they were there for the members of parliament to exhaust.
Among the grievances which women legislators wanted the Internal Affairs Minister to address is the continued police brutality while organizing functions in their constituencies. Abdul Nasir Lubwama for UBC.
Human rights defenders were this week not impressed by the manner in which police and women legislators engaged each other at Parliament. The Executive Director, Women in Development, of Jane Francis Oleg, describes as an unfortunate the incident in which a member of Parliament was seen boxing a policewoman officer. The senior human rights defender wants legislators and police to work in harmony with each other.
It is a concern that started with mishandling by police of the woman member of parliament for Buvuma district. Susan Mugabe had organized belated Women's Day celebrations in her district, only to be stopped by police.
Women's Day is not an NRM day.
The manner of stopping is what prompted her fellow female legislators to petition the speaker.
They should be taken to court. They are breaking the law. They are violating the constitution. They are criminals.
The petition was to be followed by another petition to Ministry of Internal Affairs. The procession for the same was, however, stopped. This led to a scuffle that saw 11 female opposition legislators arrested and detained at Central Police Station in Kampala. This is the kind of confrontation that some human rights defenders have condemned.
So Ugandans are only claiming for their rights, and they are not being responsible for certain behaviors that can violate their rights. We like so much to fight with the police. Why?
Jane Francis Oling is the Executive Director, Women in Development, who says that whereas the MPs may have had a genuine cause, attacking the police on duty was uncalled for.
As a principle, human rights advocacy or defense has to be very peaceful, has to be non-confrontational, and we believed that these women would do the same, that they would explain to the police how they are taking their petition and they would be guided. But I saw they refused to be guided, and there became a fight between them and the police officers on duty, something that did not please us. These women are accountable to us. We expect them to act in a way that the rest of the women in this country can follow.
The incident saw Deputy Speaker of Parliament temporarily suspend the House sitting. This was for a brief meeting with concerned authorities, something Jen Oling disagrees with.
We are going to meet in my waiting area, house suspended for 10 minutes.
Suspending the sitting means there's a national crisis. That wasn't a national crisis. I think they needed to give it a second thought. These issues would be handled much later. It wasn't, I don't think it was a national crisis.
It took the intervention of the Speaker of Parliament, Anita Annette Among, for Central Police Station to release these MPs. Still in disagreement of this move is Jane Francis Oling, a senior human rights defender.
I think at that point the police looked very powerless, okay? What she did was right, but at what point did she need to do that? She moved in there at CPS and removed these ladies out, and of course took them to Parliament. I kept thinking, how vulnerable are our men and women in uniforms if these things keep occurring? So Parliament has to continue teaching its own to be peaceful.
As of now, the standoff continues to make headlines, with the Inspector General of Police summoned to appear before the Uganda Human Rights Commission. The extent to which this will address the differences remains a matter of time. Henry Okrut, UBC.
UBC Weekly News Roundup. Now, in more updates, Pope Francis this week appointed the Vicar General of Chienda Mityana Diocese, Monsignor Lawrence Mukasa, as Bishop of Kasana-Luwero. Father Lawrence Mukasa was born in Awiri on 14th March 1957 and ordained a priest on 24th June 1984 in Chienda Mityana. This Saturday, 29th April 2023, Lawrence Mukasa was appointed the new Bishop of Kasana-Luwero, succeeding Bishop Paulo Semogerere, who is now the Archbishop Kampala Archdiocese. Father Lawrence Mukasa was until Saturday the Vicar General Chienda Mityana Diocese. The Apostolic Nuncio desires to congratulate the new Bishop Reverend Monsignor Lawrence Mukasa, and to invoke abundant blessings upon his ministry. A statement delivered to the diocese leadership and a section of Christians gathered at the Kasana-Luwero Diocesan Cathedral in Luwero District on Saturday reads in part. Of State for National Guidance, Godfrey Kiyonga, this week urged the public to verify information before sharing it on social media campaigns targeting different sectors of the economy. He commends the use of the internet to seek accountability from relevant authorities and highlights the ministry's units that assess concerns raised on social media to find solutions.
The recently amplified potholes exhibition on the internet prompted the head of state to order for the release of $6 billion to support Kampala Capital City Authority to fix the dire state of roads in the central business district.
We are having a deliberate effort to see how we can get money to do reconstruction. But what we want is for KCCA to continue with maintenance, and we shall only give the money that we have.
In a similar campaign on the health sector, State Minister for National Guidance Godfrey Kiyonga encourages sharing of correct information while reporting challenges faced in the country.
You are getting me? So that people can get correct information. The people should be fed with correct information, whether bad or good. But this feedback is good because for you to plan, you must look at the needs. So this feedback, this exhibition is actually some sort of needs assessment, which is very good.
Now, Ugandans continue to share some of the challenges being faced in the health sector, and currently are running a hashtag via the internet space dubbed the Uganda Health Exhibition. But the fundamental question is that how is government using the information being shared on internet to respond to some of the concerns raised by the citizens?
As soon as we get this information, our work now as the ministry is to send to the responsible ministries as soon as we get it. But it's also important to note that we have a government communicator in every ministry. So all those communicators are following what is taking place. And that's why you saw when the pothole issue came up, immediately the president had already got the what? The information.
Meanwhile, persons affected by the wrath of River Nyamwamba that burst banks in Kasese are being advised to leave dangerous areas for safety. But locals in Kampala have been affected by heavy rains that damaged houses and property.
The Kasese problem are floods, river floods. Here in Kampala, it is stormwater. Stormwater is the biggest problem now. But also people should think about harvesting this water because some of it is coming from the buildings.
Kabyanga also responded to Moses Magogo's plea to have UPDF contract terminated for handling Nambole National Stadium renovation.
We realized that there is no progress. On the 4th of November 2021, there was a decision taken by Parliament to award Nambole the money they needed, that's 97 billion. And this money has since been released by the Minister of Finance.
Let them first build the stadium, let them complete it and hand it over, and the KCCA issues an occupation what? Permit.
And but when you look at the progress of work, there's no significant update that is going on as far as the construction is concerned.
But I know he's a very smart guy. Let the committee which reach there, if they feel to show the work, they should do order for a value for money audit, and they find out.
Ivan Kahwa and Abdul Nasir Luwama, UBC News in Kampala.
Former Defense Minister Dr. Crispus Kiyonga says the Iron Sheet saga is regrettable and an embarrassment to the revolutionaries. Kiyonga, who is also Uganda's former envoy to China, this week advised leaders to be cautious in order not to spoil the mission of revolutionaries. Pardon me for that.
My statement is to say, oh, this scale system failure.
Former Defense Minister Dr. Crispus Kiyonga is seemingly not happy with politicians' involvement in diverting iron sheets meant for Karamoja people to their personal use.
There is a sense of regret and embarrassment on the part of revolutionaries in this country. This is arising from the fact that the revolutionaries are always conscious. They always have a sense of mission. They know the imaginary line that we should always follow.
Kiyonga says such vices threatens the future of the country.
What has happened to revolutionary consciousness, which should guide even law and all that business? That's the big question for us who regret this situation.
Kiyonga's thoughts do not differ from some of the beneficiaries of the diverted iron sheets who regretted the situation.
And we are failing the commander-in-chief. We are failing. The list is not being used. So this is a matter that is of great interest.
So no, we're not letting down the president. I've told you there is a weakness. We could say in government there is maybe a weakness in doing these things. As I said, for example, why don't we have guidelines when we issue these things out? They don't give us guidelines. They say you take, and they go and do as you think, because they think we are responsible people, and we are responsible people. I cannot pick those iron sheets and go and start selling them on the open market. How can I do that?
Dr. Kiyonga calls for a system re-examination, advising the offenders in the iron sheets scandal to resign as a form of political consciousness. He cites examples of the past leaders caught up in a similar situation.
I told you, Honorable Time, who slapped someone and immediately said, consciously, this is bad, I should resign. In law, you see, like law, if you just depend on law alone, you will get problems. Therefore, mistakes have happened throughout the time that NRM has been in power. But detection has always been timely and effectively handled by the system.
Daniel Mugoya, UBC News.
In other updates, institutions of higher learning have been urged to enhance students' capacity to be able to adopt to growing technology while officiating at the 5th graduation ceremony of African Renewal University at Buloba campus, Wakiso district this week. The director, Compassionate International, Dr. Lenny Migisha, urged all stakeholders to ensure the universities are able to establish a business process outsourcing centers to prepare young people for jobs.
Over 370 students have been conferred certificates, diplomas, degrees and masters in various disciplines during African Renewal University's 5th graduation ceremony. African Renewal University is a Christian-based university that has existed for over 16 years, putting emphasis on equipping Christian leaders for the transformation of society. The acting Vice-Chancellor, African Renewal University, Dr. Vincent Yamukama, applauded government for the charter status achievement.
Where different teams kept coming to verify and see our readiness for the charter. And indeed, we put in a lot of hard work, we put in a lot of effort to ensure that we get the standards that we are required by the government to acquire the charter. So as a university, it's a good achievement. We are so privileged and honored to join the club of the chartered universities in Uganda, which are very few, by the way.
The Chancellor, African Renewal University, Reverend Peter Kasiryevu, advised students to embrace positive change and dreaming.
Education is not just a certificate, but it's an opportunity to make a difference in your country, in your nation, and in your community. So my message to you is this: don't sit on your paper. Go out and make a difference. Go and be a change agent in every area that you have the opportunity to.
The director, Compassionate International, Dr. Lenny Migisha, said higher education creates social impact in society and urged higher institutions of learning to embrace ICT.
A national leader, a leader whose mind is open, having an open mind, being universal in your way of thinking, that you can be able to transcend beyond your local understanding and allow God to use you as a vessel for global transformation.
Some of the graduates also thanked God for the achievements they have acquired so far.
So it still remains a challenge for us. I will only be fully excited and happy when I translate this paper into being the best and best performance with a very good grade into the community.
Robert Katamba, UBC News.
Talk with freedom. Get MTN Freedom Voice Bundles that don't expire. Dial *100 *21# or my MTN app for more bundles. Together, we're unstoppable.
This isn't just a girl. She is the future. This is a teacher, a doctor, a community leader, our future president.
Their support meant so much to me. And as a teenage girl, I stayed focused and was protected from child marriage and teenage pregnancy. I will support other girls against child marriage and teenage pregnancy.
Take action. Report any case of defilement or child marriage to the police or call Sauti 116.
Iwakato, this is a quick call. I'm almost out of minutes. Now, the center.
Why rush through such important conversations? Airtel Uganda has made it possible for you to call across all networks in Uganda at the best rates with the new Bona voice bundles. Stay connected anytime, anywhere, with minutes valid for calls on all networks. Dial *100 *1#. Select voice bundles and select Bona voice bundles today. Airtel, the smartphone network.
The Ministry of Energy and Mineral Development, under the auspices of the East African Community, will host the 10th East African Petroleum Conference and Exhibition 2023 from the 9th to the 11th of May 2023 at the Kampala Serena Hotel in Uganda. Take full advantage of the investment opportunities in the East African region's vibrant oil and gas sector. To find out more on how to sponsor, exhibit, or attend the 10th EAPCE 23, visit www.eapce23.eac.int.
Glow as you are with the new Spark 10 series smartphone from Airtel in partnership with Tecno. Own the timelines with picture-perfect selfies using the 32-megapixel selfie camera, 256 GB storage, G88 gaming processor, and a strong battery to last the whole day. Haha! Toakana.
The Spark 10 smartphone comes with free 3 GB from Airtel and 100% bonus on weekly and monthly bundles every month for 3 months, so you can stay connected to a world of possibilities. Dial *100*5# to enjoy free data. The new Spark 10 is available in all selected Tecno shops countrywide. Airtel, the smartphone network in partnership with Tecno. Stop at nothing.
Welcome back. We're still following up the updates that you could have missed out during our weekly news roundup. Now, on 2 business updates, private players in the vocational training field this week appealed for incentives to enable them effectively compete in the new policy implementation. This was during the 15th graduation ceremony for over 230 students who graduated in various vocational and technical disciplines at Lady Valeria Vocational Business and Technical Institute, Matuga, Wakiso District.
The Ministry of Education and Sports organized the first ever National Technical and Vocational Training Exhibition at Nakawa, with an emphasis on popularizing and demystifying vocational education as education for the formal education failures, in line with the new 2019 Technical and Vocational Training Policy. In order to fulfill the mandate of the new policy, private players in the vocational and technical skills training field have called upon government to put in place some incentives to enable them participate fully. Some of the incentives include tax waivers on instruction materials and general operation licenses. This was during the 15th graduation ceremony for Lady Valeria Vocational Business and Technical Institute Matuga in Wakiso District.
We are requesting the government to come to our rescue by at least providing with us some of the things that we shall be needed for practical purposes. For example, machinery is so expensive. But even then, reducing the taxes would help us so much.
In a situation where we are going into this new curriculum, I think they should also prioritize vocational school, vocational institutions.
I am appealing to the government that it should come in and support the institution by giving them support in terms of funds, right? It becomes a revolving fund so that that amount is used by the school to carry out the programs.
Over 230 students graduated with the certificates in various vocational and skills courses awarded by the institute. Some students in the electrical and motor vehicle mechanics section demonstrated their skills to the parents.
By this lever, when you push it to the other side, you give them a percentage. So
it's called our backup system. It is used in every industry. For example,
Lady Valeria Vocational and Business College has been offering an international certificate. But now where we are, we've started to work upon a process so that we acquire an accreditation from National Council for Higher Education.
The 15th graduation ceremony coincides with the Institute's 20th anniversary, having started in 2003 with only 3 courses, which have since grown to 12. Ivan Juko and Edward Collins Juko for UBC.
Well, that's all we had time for this particular newscast. Thank you so much for following up those updates that you could have missed out during the entire week. My name is Sandra Kahunde, wishing you a blessed day and a fruitful week ahead. And from the entire team behind the scene, we love you. God bless you.
inspiring Uganda.
Jerry con. Jerry con. Hey, Master Blaster. Touch him, man. Bang Jerry con with muscle. Those ones who say go is for you only. Mundava. Best movies I teach you. But never come up with the squad. Because of the camera is very far. Is you serious? Is serious you? What? Yeah? You step it on it. Add kilometers to your legs. And you get your sugar. We buy meat from Umaru. And Umaru refused to give you enough meat. Show him that they don't